JavaScript, even though it's not a strongly typed language, it still provides you three different ways to declare variable. That is const, let and var. And all three of them works pretty differently. In this video we'll discuss all of them. Let's start with the oldest one first, that is var. In JavaScript you can declare a variable using the var keyword followed by an equals and then an assignment to that particular variable. And then you can pretty much store anything inside that variable. It could be an array, it could be a function, but that's not what separates var from const and let. What separates var from let and const is something called scoping. It works totally different for var as compared to let and const. So let's take a look. If I declare a variable using the var keyword inside a block and then print it out, it will work with no errors. And now let's do the same thing, but instead of var, I'm gonna use let. And if you can see, it throws an error that my variable is not defined. And this happened because var is function scoped and const and let are blocked scoped. Function scoping work pretty simply. Basically, every variable that is declared within the function is only accessible inside the function and not outside it. So if we declare a function and then we declare a variable inside it and we print that out, it will work pretty fine. So if we call that function now, then it should simply print out my variable that is hello. Even if I add a block scope inside my function, it should work pretty fine because my variable hello is function scoped, which means it can be accessed anywhere in the function as long as there is a value defined to it. But what happens if I try to access my variable hello outside the function? So let's do that. The moment I do that, you can see I'll get an error. And this is because var is function scoped and it cannot be accessed outside of function. But what happens if there is no function inside my file? If there is no function, then JavaScript uses something called a lexical scoping. Basically what happens is if there is no function, then that variable is passed on to the parent. In this case, the parent is global. So this variable becomes a global variable and can be accessed from anywhere within the file. Let's move on to let now. So if we declare a function and declare a variable using the let keyword and print that out, it should work pretty fine. But what happens if you put that variable inside a block? It goes undefined, and it's because let is blocked scope, that it's only available within the curly braces. Just to give you a quick recap, var is function scoped. That means any variable that is defined within a function using the var keyword is available anywhere within the function, versus let, which is block scoped, which means it's only accessible within the curly braces it is declared in and not outside the curly braces. So in this example, it is only available inside the if loop, not outside the if loop. Now let's move on to the last type of variable declaration, that is const. Const is an immutable variable declaration, which simply means that once it's defined, you cannot change its value anywhere. This is really helpful when you're trying to define a global variable which you don't want to change anywhere inside your code base. Scoping for const works exactly the same as it works for let. That means it's a block type scoping. Once it's declared within a block, it cannot be accessed outside anywhere. That's all for now. If you enjoyed this video, maybe consider subscribing to my channel.